On Walton's Mountain, time flows like the gentle current of the Rockfish River, steady, seasonal, and steeped in memory. The passage of days shapes the younger Waltons in quiet, profound ways, each season marking new growth, new responsibilities, and new tests of character. Yet amid the change, there remain anchors, values as solid and enduring as the mountain itself. Family, legacy, reverence for the past. But even the strongest values face trial when the unexpected arrives, unannounced and uninvited. It begins with a simple errand: John Boy helping Grandma with price comparisons in town. As their truck rolls down Jefferson Street, she grows still. She asks to stop not at the general store, but in front of the old Whitley house. There, a county worker hangs a stark sign: demolition imminent. The Baldwin sisters stand nearby, protesting in their genteel, indignant way. To them, the house isn't just wood and plaster, it's history. A tavern once, a gathering place where their father, ever the charmer, would visit his female cousins. For Grandma, it's far more personal. Beneath that stained glass window in the front gable, Zeeb played "Carry Me Back to Old Virginia" on his banjo and stole her first kiss. She pleads with John Boy, surely something can be done. He offers hope, a petition, a public appeal, a voice raised in defense of memory. The hope shatters that evening at dinner. Grandpa strides in, beaming he's just won the demolition contract. For him, it's not sentiment, but sense. Salvageable heart pine, fine molding, sturdy beams, materials too valuable to ignore. But for Grandma, it feels like betrayal. She begs him to walk away. He won't. A quiet tension settles over the table, love and principle, caught in a tug of war neither wants to lose. Meanwhile, Mr. Johnson, the aging editor of the Jefferson County Times, sees in the controversy a final editorial opportunity. And in John Boy, a successor. He asks the young writer to cover the Whitley debate, not as a reporter, but as a thinker, a voice of reason and reflection. With retirement and Florida on the horizon, Johnson wants his paper to leave behind not just news, but meaning. At the rally outside the doomed house, passion flares. The Baldwins and townsfolk circulate petitions, recite memories, hold signs pleading, "Save Whitley." John Boy observes from across the street, notebook in hand, journalist and grandson, torn between objectivity and loyalty. Then Grandpa arrives. The crowd falls silent. When they learn he's the contractor, disbelief turns to dismay. The man they decounted on as a pillar of the community is now the instrument of erasure. Later, John Boy and Jim Bob sneak inside the empty house. Dust motes dance in shafts of fading light. Jim Bob, spooked by creaking floorboards and echoes of the past, can't wait to leave. But John Boy lingers, feeling the weight of history in the silence. In that stillness, inspiration strikes. His editorial won't just recount the debate, it will ask what it means to honor the past while building the future. When the piece is published, the family gathers to hear him read it aloud. It's measured, fair, even generous to Grandpa's practical view. Yet the words can't bridge the quiet gulf between Zeb and Esther. The rift remains tender and unspoken. Then on the night of Jason's recital, when the house is empty and the family dressed in their Sunday best, a different kind of reconciliation unfolds. Back home, hammering echoes from upstairs. Zeeb's been busy. When Esther returns, she finds him in their bedroom and stops cold. There, glowing in the lamplight, is the stained glass window from the Whitley house, now set into their wall. No explanation is needed. He hasn't forgotten. He never could. With that single act, he says what words couldn't. Some things are too precious to demolish. Music swells. "Carry Me Back to Old Virginia" played softly on banjo, then joined by piano. Meanwhile, Jason faces his own rite of passage. Selected for the advanced music theory class, he's tasked with performing a demanding Haydn concerto, partnered with Hollis on violin. Rehearsals falter. The piece is complex, unfamiliar. At home, Grandma shyly asks if he might play one of her tunes, something lively, rooted, real. He's too focused, too stressed to oblige. She hides her disappointment well. Then, at the recital disaster, their sheet music vanishes. Sabotage. Hollis freezes. No music, no performance. But Jason reaches into his guitar case, not for Haydn, but for the old Virginia tune Grandma had handed him days before. With a nod, Hollis follows. What follows isn't virtuosic, but it's true. Fiddles and piano dancing in harmony. The hall fills with warmth, laughter, pride. And in the front row, Grandma beams not because it's perfect, but because it's theirs. In the end, the house isn't just about wood and nails or even memory. It's about how love persists, not in grand declarations, but in stained glass saved from ruin. In sheet music tucked in a case. In a banjo melody, played once more for the woman who still hears it in her heart. Music fades, gentle wind through the pines. On Walton's Mountain some things may change, but what matters? That never does.